that the Philippine Government Panel and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front have just announced that they are working towards the resumption of formal peace talks and that we are now on ceasefire. So that is the difference between 8 years ago and today. And how did we get to where we are? Mahirap yung umaabot doon. Nakikita natin doon sa Jakarta mismo, kapital ng Indonesia, nagkaroon pa ng pagbobomba, pero tayo pumapasok sa pangungusap sa kapayapaan. At yun na nga, yung ating pakikipagbalikatan sa Amerika, yung hard power, renaming yung ating mga sundalo, at nakikipag-ugnayan sa intelligence, at saka yung soft power, nagtatayo ng mga eskwela, mga kalsada, mga tulay, para sa ganon ay yung pamayanan ay maging mas maganda. And another thing that we talked about is we applauded President Obama's leadership on climate change, especially because just recently, the U.S. House of Representatives and their counterparts among our delegation, congratulated them, just passed the ACES Act. What is this ACES Act? This is the American Clean Energy Security Act. It is now pending in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate, but the important thing about this bill passing in the House after a long debate is that under the Obama administration, they recognize the pressing need for the U.S. to step up and take action against climate change by reducing carbon emissions. And that's important to us. As a developing nation, we need to balance economic growth and environmental sustainability very seriously, because we are an archipelago with a very long coastline. So the Philippines is particularly vulnerable to dramatic changes in our weather and our rising seas. I've often said, oceans rise and Florida gets wet. Oceans rise and the Philippines and our nation is gone. So that is how important it is for us to avoid climate change. We will do everything in our power, I said, to work with the U.S. on this vital issue that confronts the Philippines, but also the entire human race. This is but one example of efforts we are taking to preserve our environment. On another front, we have been active in the Coral Triangle Initiative. Itong Coral Triangle, ito yung Amazon of the underwater. It covers the entire Philippines and parts of 5 other neighboring countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Solomon Islands. And this initiative is to bring together the food users of the world to protect the breeding grounds of the fish that feed the world. Yes, the Coral Triangle, wherein those 6 countries are located, is the one that provides the fish that feeds so much of the world. And therefore, we need to protect our natural environment. We also need to protect the livelihood of the fisher folks, and we have to protect the source of food supply for much of the world. A lot of you are very fond of tuna. And when you're eating tuna, whether a nice tuna sandwich from a fast food store or a fancy tuna meal in a fancy restaurant, if you're eating that, chances are it comes from the Philippines. Or for sure, almost, it comes from the Coral Triangle. And that is what we are seeking to preserve. In addition to President Obama, we met with Secretary Clinton and other members of the cabinet. We also met with Speaker Pelosi and other congressional leaders. And I hope that you don't mind that I said, in your behalf, we are thanking them for passing the recognition and benefits of Filipino World War II veterans that they included in the fiscal stimulus package or the American Recovery Act. After 60 long years of waiting, we finally got justice. And as important as these official meetings are, I always meet with the members of the private sector, including financial leaders in New York. This morning, we met with Coca-Cola, who had just bought back their plant about just a couple of years ago with $100 million. But today they announced their expansion plan that will total, including what they put in since they bought the firm back and what they're going to put in the next few years, they announced that their total investment is going to be $1 billion. So they have joined our billion-dollar club. We also met with members of the ICT industry. You know, there's a world ICT conference that was taking place here in Jersey City, Thursday and Friday. I couldn't attend that because I was in Washington. But the big participants came to see me in New York today because they reported how this is a world conference. They reported how Philippines, together with India, dominated the conference in terms of attractiveness as a destination for investment. And it shows in the Philippines. When I first became president, there were 6,000 employees in a virtually non-existent BPO industry. Today, there are 600,000 workers, young Filipinos, in a $6 billion industry. In fact, one of the leaders of the ICT industry in the meeting I had today was saying about how he met me 5 years ago and how we were talking about ICT, call centers, and BPO. And at that time, nobody could imagine what a big driver of growth it would become. Now, it has become such a big driver of growth with unprecedented investments. And so it gives terrific jobs to young people, good paying jobs that keep them at home and not abroad. You know, we really value how much you, our PhilAms, love the Philippines. We value your dedication to your family, to your nation, to your work. Like Jackie says, she brings her son to the Philippines so that he will be proud of being a Filipino. But we are working for the day when there will be enough jobs at home, good jobs, so that going abroad will only be a career choice and not the only choice for a hard-working Filipino. But we could not do that with the condition that I inherited 8 years ago. As I said at that time, even when Asia was surging, the Philippines was on the brink of bankruptcy. At that time, what was it? Our budget was like maybe 900 billion pesos, and our tax revenues were 700 billion pesos. And the tax revenues were only enough to pay the local government's internal revenue allotment, the salaries of the government workers, and the debt service. Because for generations, we have been living on debt. If we wanted to spend on infrastructure or for social services,